This is the talk of Music City Real Estate.
Welcome back to another episode of the Talk of Music City Real Estate,
where we educate and motivate all things real estate.
My name is Monty Moore with Realty One Group Music City.
Hey, and I'm Carey Ann with CMG Financial and my mortgage team.
Every week we'll be posting a new episode chock full of Nashville real estate value.
Yes, and you can follow along and subscribe at talkmusiccity.com.
Got a question for us? Ask away at questions@talkmusiccity.com. That's questions@talkmusiccity.com.
Money.
Carey Ann, so good to have you back in the house. You know, I've missed you. You know, this is a crazy year.
I can't believe it's already halfway through.
I know it. I can't even believe it. We can't even believe it. We have a guest with us that I'm so excited about because I think so many realtors can learn from this company and their local leader here. And JB with Mosquito Joe. Can you imagine for a second? You know how hard it is to keep all your agents happy. Mm-hmm. Can you imagine being responsible for every damn mosquito out there in hundreds of yards? I mean, talk about undermining your business.
That is a lot. That is a lot. Cow. Welcome, JB.
Before we get into JB's experience and why I wanted him to come on the call, let's talk about our sponsor, shall we?
Yes, Music City Removal. They are the #1 junk removal service in Nashville. From residential, commercial, and construction, they're experts in ridding you of junk. Their costs include labor and dumping fees without any hidden or added expenses. So whether you need a full clean out or just one item removed, they have you covered.
The Music City Removal team knows the importance of respect and trust while in someone else's home. They understand the inconvenience of junk left behind by previous homeowners and tenants and are determined to provide an affordable and customer-focused junk removal service that puts you first. For a free on-site estimate, go to musiccityremoval.com. That's musiccityremoval.com.
Yes, Music City Removal, because cluttering cute. Nor are those nasty mosquitoes.
Oh my gosh, not this time of year for sure.
You know, my little daughter, she must have that sensitive skin, so she gets a couple bites, but they're like massive welts, you know. Oh. So we are anti-mosquito in our house for sure.
Well, you know, Bill Gates has released mosquitoes down in the Keys that are genetically modified. Are you aware of that?
No.
They're carrying around little syringes. No, they're seriously. They let out, I forget how many.
I don't ever know what you're saying. Any of it ever is anything true.
No, it's real.
I look at him now with like, you know, I need Botox when that line actually appears when I look at Monty.
JB, thank you for joining us today.
Thanks
JB,
for having me.
Really excited about this. So let me set at the stage here, okay, and why I've been asking this gentleman and his company to be on this podcast. So first of all, as a viewer of our program here, as a real estate professional, you're going to hear about a company that is going to be a great resource for you, especially these next few months. You know, as people are getting out and about and so forth, and are getting eaten up by these giant mosquitoes and so forth that we have here in Nashville. But equally as important, if not more important, is the level of service that we have experienced from this organization, and that is why I said, look, JB, I know that killing mosquitoes isn't about real estate, but serving others is 1,000% all about real estate.
Oh, absolutely. You know, I grew and built my business on learning from other business owners, and it was nothing to do with the mortgage business. Right. So, you know, I'm so excited to have you join us today because we can learn so much from others. Just that one minor system, that one thing that you do, I possibly could add, you know, to make a difference in the service levels that, you know, my team offers and or the agents out there. So welcome, JB. So share with us, because we were talking about the amazing experience.
Well, yeah, let me just set the stage here. You know, so we're about 3 or 4 months into our first experience with. Now, the reason why we even called Mosquito Joe is because, you know, around our neighborhood we saw the little little signs in the yard that they were being. What do you need a mosquito company for? I mean, I'm not going to spend the money and all this kind of stuff. But we have a pool. You know, and not very far from our house, I was in the backyard of one of my clients, and all of a sudden I was getting eaten up by things I couldn't see. You know, these no-see-ums or whatever you want to call them. You know, they were just and they just bite you so hard, and there's nobody to blame it on. You can't kill them and squash them like you want to. You know, and so we're about 3 months into our experience with Mosquito Joe. Connie and I are sitting by the pool, and a couple of mosquitoes go flying by, or some sort of bug. On my cell phone, I reach out to Mosquito Joe and said, hey guys, we're still seeing mosquitoes in our backyard. The next day, they're treating our yard. They didn't argue about it. They didn't talk about it. They didn't say, well, it's been raining a lot, or they didn't make any excuses whatsoever. They were out there the next morning taking care of those pesky little varmints. So I'm thinking, okay, that's got my attention. I was sharing with JB earlier, and I'm sure you're like this, Carey Ann. When Connie and I go into a restaurant, we're probably some of the most, not cynical, but
skeptical maybe
of their clients that come in, because all we do all day long is we either serve the consumer or we serve our agents.
Yes,
we're
similar.
all about serving. Okay, we're all about, and I know there's only that name tag probably that differentiates me from serving tables.
Yeah,
it's the same thing. You have experience in that arena. I've threatened more times than you have any imagined nation to, as far as how many times I was going to get out of real estate and I'm just going to go serve tables, because we do the same thing. Well, I'm impressed, is all I can say, JB. So
So let's talk about those nasty bugs. So I'm possibly a little naive. So the 3 little flies were going by. Aren't they going to continue going by, or because you saw 3 bugs, you assume that there's more to come? Like, in my mind, is
so
there
you have a pool? You don't have mosquito problems?
No, but we do have probably a bug service. Maybe not so much mosquitoes. You know what I do have is sand. I have snow. It's snowing constantly in our house. Sawdust. So those are carpenter bees.
Carpenter bees.
It is just snowing constantly. Yeah. Who knew that the house was made of wood?
and what is your dog's name?
Crockett.
So
yes.
Crockett, has he had any fleas? You don't want that to happen.
No, but I think
they take care of that too.
He chews some flea pill, doesn't he?
That's not good for him.
Oh, I didn't know.
That's not
okay,
good
well, we're 86ing the flea pill, and we're going to bring on JB, the Mosquito
Well, I'm just
Joe.
saying you guys take care of it all, right?
Yeah, so we do a number of things. So our bread and butter is residential properties, single family homes, kind of standalone structures, and mosquitoes is kind of our flagship. But then we also do fleas, ticks, chiggers, and no-see-ums. Chiggers suck. Yeah, and there's a lot of them. They're really tough in kind of the Nashville, Franklin area. The past couple of years, we've seen a big influx of them. Number of reasons, but they're difficult. They're difficult to get rid of, and they're problematic when they start getting after you. They leave little red welts, little red bites.
All over.
They last forever.
Yeah.
My poor little girl has Band-Aids all over only because she wants to itch them so much. So, it's awful. So, let's back it up just another step. Who's Joe?
Yeah, so Mosquito Joe's a franchise.
Okay.
Yeah, so based out of Virginia Beach.
Joe's possibly dead. That's what you're saying.
Well, Joe's like the wizard.
Okay.
Joe's there, he's behind the curtain, but nobody gets to see Joe.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So we brought Joe to Nashville.
Yep,
so,
brought Joe to Nashville.
Do you have one of the franchises here, or is there multiple?
So there's actually 2 here. So I'm the general manager of Mosquito Joe Southwest Nashville.
Okay.
And we primarily have everything kind of south of the river and west of 40. So basically Brentwood, Franklin,
Great.
Nashville proper. The majority of that is with our office, as well as a large percentage of East Nashville. And then there's also a Mosquito Joe of Northeast Nashville. They're up by Hermitage.
Perfect.
And so they kind of have the other side of that. So on the east, they have Antioch, and then kind of all the way up around Hendersonville, Hermitage.
Yeah.
Kind of everything north of East Nashville, that's all theirs as well.
Mosquitoes are everywhere, right?
They
so
are
you
very
need to
good.
make sure you have enough protection there. So super cool. So let's talk about, is it a spray that you do?
Yeah, so our primary application is from a backpack blower, just like you would see guys out there landscaping. When after they trim the grass, they're using those to blow the dirt and grass away. So we use a similar machine. It's a liquid-based product. So we use an all-natural solution that we mix with water in the tank, and then the technicians apply that around the property.
All over the grass?
It's a combination. So if mosquitoes is your primary focus, it's going to be more of a focus on shrubbery, foliage, vegetation, areas like that. Mosquitoes in particular, they harbor. So some people do what they call loaf. They literally just hang around during the day. They try to stay shielded from wind and rain and sun. And so they'll hide out on the undersides of vegetation. They'll kind of feed on that vegetation. And then they'll use those areas as well that are close to standing water and damp soil to lay their eggs. So they can kind of do all that in one area, hang out, vegetate, eat, eat, and then also lay their eggs, larvae.
They don't go very far, do they?
No, they really don't. They're a lot of people call them shrub hoppers. So because we know that, we can use that against them.
I gotcha.
And so we can treat those areas that we know they're going to want to spend their time, and so we can start to slowly push them out of your yard into other areas. And so that's where we focus on for mosquitoes. Fleas, ticks, chiggers, and no-see-ums, it's those areas plus grassy areas and transitional areas. So with mosquitoes in particular, you don't normally need to do a lawn treatment. They're very sensitive to that sunlight, and so being out in the middle of the grass, you may experience them sometimes as you're walking through, but they're not living there.
Right.
But fleas, ticks, chiggers, no-see-ums, they can definitely be in those. And transitional areas are tricky too. So areas, think about like where your landscaping bed meets your grass. That's kind of a different type of habitat there.
Yeah.
And so a lot of bugs like that transitional area, so we'll get those areas as well.
So are you staining are you killing my grass?
No. Everything that we use is designed to be sprayed on vegetation.
Okay.
So everything's designed to be sprayed on foliage.
Because I like my grass to be green.
Yeah, we like that too.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
said
we like
all
that
natural.
too.
You said all natural, JB.
Yeah, so
I could drink that or not?
No, I wouldn't drink it. But it's not natural in the sense of you want to drink it for nourishment. It's natural in the sense
kids can walk through it and things like that.
Yeah,
Okay.
and we do have synthetic products that we can use. Philosophically, we've decided to make a shift towards natural solutions, natural products. If we back up a little, private mosquito control is a pretty new industry. It's only been around about 20-ish years, 20, maybe 25, kind of on the outskirts, versus, say, fast food, you got another 100 years there. So, it's private mosquito control has gone through a lot of evolutions and just in 20 years. Municipalities and governments have been doing mosquito control since the early 1900s, maybe even a little bit before.
But that wasn't natural. It wasn't all natural product.
Yeah.
That was called DD.
Yeah.
DD, whatever it's
You
called.
see the trucks with the kids playing, and the DET behind them. It's not
good.
ideal.
No,
Flies
that's
aren't-
not good.
Yeah. So we're a long way from that. The products we use are essential oil treatments, primary lemongrass, citronella, cedarwood.
You're right. I heard that kind of stuff that keeps those things away. Yeah, so smart. I love that. But it takes a while. I mean, I kill every plant I plant, so it's good to have somebody just coming in versus me trying to grow a lemongrass bush or something like that.
Yeah.
So and thank you for that rundown. So we better understand. I got two other things I want to make sure I don't forget to share. One of them is about 4 months into it, 6 months into our experience with Mosquito Joe, my dog fence, my underground dog fence guy says, "Hey, Monty, I bought a Kill a Mosquito franchise. I don't remember the name, Kill a Mosquito or something like that."
Must have been super good.
And he said, I've got one of these convictions. I like to keep the money in the family whenever I can. He's a nice guy. I've known him for years. He's worked, many dog problems for us and trained the dogs. And so I said, sure, not a problem. And so he came in and treated. I fired you guys. I'm sorry. I really hang my head in shame now.
That's all right. Everybody's got to learn their own way.
Yeah, exactly. And so I did. And so we had mosquitoes all over the place and bugs and stuff, and it's like, crap, I don't want the dogs getting fleas. And so I let him know. I said, hey, man, love you, but this is not working. Can you come back and, juice this up again or something? Do whatever you do. And he did, and we still had problems. And so I let him go the next time, and I humbly came back to Mosquito Joe. Humbly, okay? So I said, I made a mistake. Please forgive me. But what I really want you on here about is, other than, I want to make sure that the agents out there know about what a great service you guys provide for those who are sensitive to no-see-ums and all the other critters out there. We do live in the South. And if you have dogs, I love the fact that we don't have to have now the yard treated for fleas, but that takes care of that too. Because we've had fleas before. We know what that looks like when they get in the carpet.
Yeah,
it's
they're
an ugly
no fun.
situation.
They're difficult.
Yeah, very, very difficult. So, but the bigger reason here for us, and equally as big anyhow, is your service is amazing. So are you guys, how are you getting your people to buy into, and is there a list of core values? I mean, we didn't talk about this ahead of time. I'm sure you've been better prepared or something, or maybe not. I don't know. And just maybe off the top of your head, you can tell me why such amazing service when if I was responsible for every stinking mosquito flying through somebody's yard, I'd want to shoot myself probably, And yet these guys take that phone call from somebody who's being afflicted by these things, and with such stride, they don't even question, they just serve. How do you get to that point where you just serve?
Yeah, I think it starts right from the beginning. So Tim and Lisa, who opened the franchise here in 2015, they have a serving mentality. Okay. They open the business to help people. Mm-hmm. They open a business to make money, of course. Like most people open a business, but they open a business that they knew could also help a lot of people. Mm-hmm. And so with that in mind, we take a lot of pride in that. We take pride in exceptional customer service. That's not just with our office staff, with our CSRs who are in the office. A lot of people, I think, focus on their office staff or their people who are going to be directly interacting with customers, sales people, that kind of role. But they don't worry so much about that with their technicians or the people who are out in the field actually performing the labor. And we take a total experience with that. We actually just talked this morning in our morning meeting about the total customer experience, about making sure that we don't just get rid of their bugs, the customers feel fully satisfied with what we've done. And I actually gave a restaurant analogy this morning. I said, when you go to a restaurant, sit down, you want to have delicious food. If you have delicious food, great. But what if you have delicious food and it took an hour? What if you have delicious food and your server was a jerk? What if it took an hour, your server was a jerk, the manager came over and just said, what's wrong? You'll get your food soon. How are you going to feel about that? You're going to feel very, very, at a minimum, disappointed, probably
enraged.
Not
coming back.
You're not coming back. You're not going to tell your friends. If you do tell your friends, you probably tell them the opposite.
Right.
Don't go there.
Right.
They were so rude. It took forever.
Right.
So what we try to help our technicians understand is that it's not just about getting rid of the bugs. That's only one part of the puzzle. People engage our services to get rid of the bugs, but they retain our services because of how we treat them.
Did you hear that? Isn't that good?
Yeah.
They get it for this, but they retain it for that.
Absolutely, because mosquitoes are difficult. They've been around for 200 million years in some incarnation or the other. They literally have dinosaur fossils with a different variant of mosquito in there.
I never thought of that.
So they've been around a very, very long time, and they're very good at surviving. They're not really smart, but they're good at surviving. And so because we know their behaviors and we know how they operate, we can use that against them. But getting rid of the bugs, again, is only one small part of that puzzle. Making sure people feel their money is well spent, making sure if they have an issue, we listen. We talk about that as a team very often. Listen to customer concerns. Sometimes I feel like as a consumer, when I have a concern and I air that concern, they're just waiting for me to get done so they can move on.
Right.
Or they give a response that had nothing to do with what my concern was.
Right.
And so we really try to instill that in our office staff and our technicians. Listen to the customer.
You take you take the pain out of the experience. Okay. What I mean by that is, it's really easy to start it in the spring. It's really easy to shut it off if you choose to in the fall time or when it freezes or whatever. You make it so easy that we couldn't wait. I mean, we got you guys. We're moving in the process of moving here. And for the last, we had to tie down a rental about a month and a half ago. One of the first things we did in moving preparation, JB, was to call Mosquito Joe and go ahead and have those things have the yard taken care of, because we are real close to Percy Warner Park. We knew there'd be a lot of critters along there. We want to make sure there was no fleas in the yard for the dogs and so forth. You make it so easy to come and go, because I'm sure a lot of folks don't want their yards treated in the wintertime. I'm assuming. I don't know. I don't know. But my point is, you guys don't, whine about it. You don't hesitate. You just do whatever we ask, and they come out the next day if there's a problem, or you do. Not one time last year we're having to get together, so you come in for the party treatment, which is a little heavier, I guess. I don't. You describe what you got, but that's what I love. I think the most about it was the responsiveness, the taking the pain from the relationship out of the equation. There's not been any pain there.
So do you ask a lot of questions on the upfront, because this is a lot, right?
Yeah.
So and then another may not even care. So how did you wow him and the other? What I'm getting at is it all the same service, or do you ask those questions? What are your needs and wants? What are you looking for in a service? That kind of thing.
I got no special drilling, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Just normal questions. How much yard do you want taken care of? Where are you going to spend most of your time in the yard?
Yeah. So what he just alluded to there is something that's actually a little different than some companies in our industry. So we especially in kind of the Brentwood, Franklin area, there's a lot of our clients have large properties, multi-acre properties.
Right.
And they really don't use all that area. But some companies will essentially have you do all or nothing. So they'll say, you have a 2-acre property, here's the price. That's it.
Sure.
So we say, we base your prices on the size of your property or the portion that you want to have treated. So with that kind of opens up our customization to what the customer needs and what they want. They don't necessarily want to pay for a front yard. You know, a lot of our customers have large front yards. They don't use them.
Right.
They drive in the driveway.
Right.
They park in the garage. They park in the carport. They check the mail on the way in and out. They don't even walk down there. So why would we make them pay for something that they don't want or use, provided we can still give them that coverage that they need? But when customers initially call in, we have a fairly standard process of intake. So there are certain things that we want to make sure that every single customer knows about our service, is informed about our service. We train the CSRs. There is a sales component to being a CSR with Mosquito Joe, but there's no cold calling. They're not reaching out to anyone who isn't interested. People are calling, they're responding. It's really more about educating customers. And what we found is that we offer a service that a lot of people simply don't know about, right? So like if you go, we get reviews all the time. They say, it worked, right? Like it's like a 5-star review, it worked. You don't go get your oil changed, get home, think I made it. I made it home. leave them a review. It worked. Yeah. Thanks, guys. You did a great job. right? Like
our mosquitoes are a little more emotional though than oil change.
Yeah. Right. And it's still so new for a lot of people. You know, it's a lot of people call and they say that, does it work? You know, they're just, and I don't think they're being, you know, insidious towards us. They're genuinely curious. Like we get people say, I've lived in the South my whole life. I've never had this before, never heard of it. My neighbor uses you. They say it's fantastic. Does it really work? This is easy for us. Yes, it does. Because we have thousands of satisfied customers. We've been doing this for several years now. We've done tens of thousands of treatments at this point. Lots of customers. So we have real data. You know, even in a new industry, we have real data of how happy people are and how well the service works. So what we try to do on that initial phone call is get all the information we need so that you don't have to worry about us again. So we make sure that we've delivered the nuts and bolts of what we need to, making sure you understand our treatment schedule, you're clear on the price, our guarantee. We truly stand by our guarantee. Some companies will tell you, you know, if you have an issue, let us know, or if you need us to come back and retreat. But then to your point, Monte, when you call, they're like, well, you know, it could have been this or it could have been that.
What's your guarantee?
So we guarantee a reduction of 90 to 95%. And if you have any issues in between treatments, give us a call. We'll come back in at no charge. Wow. So it's essentially a free treatment anytime in between those. And most of our properties are on an every 3-week schedule. So every 3 weeks we're coming back and we're treating again. So if you have any issues in between that time, just let us know. And we train the CSRs we don't argue with clients. We're not pushing back. We may ask you a few clarifying questions just to make sure that we understand the issue, you know, making sure if they have any problem areas that we can pass that along to technician. But past that, it's easy for our office staff. We train them to say the customer is going to get what they want. It's not necessarily the customer is always right, because I think we all know, being in the customer service industry for years, you know, that's not always the case. But what we do want to know is, what does the customer need? What will make them feel whole, to feel like they got what they wanted? You know, and thankfully, the way our industry is set up and with our service, we have a built-in remedy. We get back out to you. But not all companies see that, and that's part of the disconnect. And I think what separates us.
You guys made us feel important because you came out the next day. That made us feel important. And if I could say anything to your boss or to the owner of the company is, you know, one of the things that I try so hard to instill in the minds of our family of professionals here in this organization is to always try to come from a place of abundance, not of lack, not of, you know, starvation, but come from a place of abundance. And working with you guys, it feels like there's that underlining mentality that we come from a place of abundance. We're not worried about what that's going to cost to come out and retreat for free or that kind of, none of that seems to be a part of the equation. And I'm sure it is as a business owner, but it's never, ever, I mean, in the 3 years that we've been using you guys, we've had you come back twice. Of course, once right after the other guy did a bad job, you know, but there was, it was never difficult. It was never, you know, never, oh, wow, they're coming back, but they really didn't want to, you know, this kind of thing. It seems like you guys are portraying a confidence of abundance that we know if we continue to serve you, you're going to continue to do your part, which is the strongest form of marketing of all, and that is personal referral. We've told our neighbors, hey, they just put a pool in. You guys got to go with these guys. They're incredible.
So let me ask a couple more questions that annoy me as when I hire bug bug people. So yes, you're spraying the bush, but you forget there's a window behind that bush, and that technician just goes and sprays and does a great job, and then sprays the entire window. Does that make sense? And then leaves marks on the window, right? Or leaves the stain coming down of this or that, right? Type of thing. So sometimes it's like they forget to think 2 steps ahead. The whole goal is not to cause the homeowner more chaos, right? How do you handle that with your folks that come out? Is there already a protection of that? Do we already address that? Or is that just something in the industry that everybody sprays everybody's windows?
Yeah, I think
we've never had our windows bothered.
Yeah, there's a couple of things there. Like one is we try to use the best equipment that we can, and so when our technicians are on your property, they're using backpack blowers. Those aren't typically what like a normal kind of regular homeowner would buy. Those are expensive pieces of equipment,
Sure.
and so they have they put out a very fine particulate mist, and so we put diffuser caps on there, which helps them become even more fine. So we're putting out a very, very fine droplet that's coming out, and so there's this, without getting too lost in the science of it, there's kind of a sweet spot of large droplets, small droplets, drift, how everything mixes together. So we've learned a lot, in the almost 10 years that Mosquito Joe has been around, and since 2015. So we've learned a lot about our processes, about the products that we want to use, about the equipment that we want to use. And so we've spent a lot of time and energy over the years developing that out.
Huge.
Yeah.
But I mean, highlighting that to people who take a lot of pride in and have had issues, I think is a huge selling technique too, or selling advantage, because you have to then hire the window cleaners to come back, because I'm not cleaning no window.
Yeah, they happen to own a window cleaning company as well. I'm just kidding.
Oh yeah. Oh, by the way, they can come out tomorrow. Or like the guy that comes out we're just talking about customer service, right?
Right. Yeah.
So the guy that we have these beautiful garage doors that open up in the backyard. Well, he comes to fix the garage door and does the oil treatment. And oil. I mean, there's oil everywhere. And he leaves as if he did what he was supposed to do, but no thought process of thinking 2 steps. Even in our industry, when we're talking customer service, you have to take a moment and think 2 steps ahead. The person buying 123 Main Street is not going to be the same as 456 Smith Street. I mean, they're all different people, the needs and wants. And yes, your core service level is on point, but sometimes things do shift, for the higher maintenance individual or this person or that person. I had a low voltage, the TV guy. What's that person called? I don't know. Huh? Cable guy. Well, not really, but the low voltage person.
Yeah, the low voltage.
All of a sudden, one of your actual agents sends me a Facebook post and says, "Is this your backyard?" And I was like, that seems to be my backyard. And they were promoting our backyard. They did all of the equipment in there, but they never finished the task. So I just sometimes in the service world, we have to think 2 steps ahead.
They were promoting their service using your backyard, which they didn't finish? Is that what you're saying?
Right. They didn't complete the task that they were to do, right?
And they're using your backyard.
And I wrote on there, I said, oh, that's kind of interesting that they would promote a house that they haven't yet finished, and the owner reaches out to me, because of the Facebook. I'm like, you didn't think 2 steps ahead. Don't go post a backyard until you know that you've satisfied the person,
really.
right?
Yeah.
To make sure, right? And so we're not going to put a testimonial out there unless it's a high-end, testimonial or a back-end testimonial. So service is key. So do you have another, before you're coming, do you have a certain setup? Do you text message us? Do you call us? Do you have a certain protocol that whether you're coming to me or to him, it's the same routine every time that you train?
It is, and training is a very important part of what we do. We talked a little bit off mic, I think, about how difficult sometimes hiring the right people is, and how difficult it is to retain those. And so we spend a lot of time training our technicians to make sure we get consistency. And so we standardize a lot of our procedures so that we can deliver the same customer experience to each customer, whether they live on 123 Main Street or 456 Smith Street. We want them to have that same experience, whether in a $4 million house, or a $100,000 house. We want them to feel like their dollars are well spent and their bugs are gone. And so when we're getting ready, kind of our typical procedure, the day before we come out, we send a text and an email letting you know we're going to schedule for the following day. And then the next day when we're actually on the route, 30 to 60 minutes out, we send a text from the technician phone, the actual technician who's headed there. He'll send a message letting them know on their way. And then we do, if people have time requests, we don't do timed appointments. The way that our service works, it's very difficult for us to consistently meet exact times. And so we try to make it as little interaction for the customer as possible. So, we don't now, partly it's kind of got accelerated because of COVID when it first came out. We used to always go up, knock on doors, and say, hey, we're here to treat. And what we found when COVID started, we stopped doing that, and we found that customers loved it. Loved it, because what would happen is we'd go up, we'd knock on the door, hey, Mosquito Joe, we're here to treat. And they'd say, okay. Do I need to do anything? Like, nope, we're just here. And they're like, okay, see you later.
Right.
And so it's like 2 or 3 minutes out of everyone's day, every single time. We've got over a dozen work trucks each day, hundreds of properties every day that we're treating. Those minutes really add up. And they also add up for the customer, right? We have people on conference calls. They have dogs who are going nuts. They have babies who are sleeping. And so we want to be courteous, that's a new word.
Yeah.
Considerate,
make them up. It's totally fine.
courteous, whatever. But no, we want to be very, conscious of people's time. And time is one of those things. It doesn't matter how wealthy you are, how poor you are, it's always valuable.
Yes, absolutely.
Always.
So do you have to go in my driveway, or can you park on the street?
We typically park on the street.
Yes, love you already.
Yeah.
They drive in the driveway, and then guess what they do? They leave the oil stains. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me.
Or they spill something. They leave a piece of equipment, trash, any of that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I mean, so little things like that.
Yes.
And what we were talking about before is like we just assume, or you possibly assume, that everybody does it. And there's so many people in the serving world that do not do the things that we should highlight that we do. If you brought to my attention, or possibly you profiled, there should be some sort of profiling. You are going to this particular house. It looks like you take a lot of attention to your landscape, et cetera. You possibly want us to make sure that everything is on point. Like something like that would go a long way for
They just do it for everybody.
Yeah. But what I'm trying to say is there's still an anxiety that you might be like the next person that just screwed up.
Oil in the driveway.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. So if you do say those things, if you do kind of, do a little extra check type of, understand where you're headed, understand, would you like me to park in the driveway, or would you like me to park in the street? Just those little things that we can convert to. Even when you go to a client's home, do you ask, may I park in the driveway or park in the street? Do you just assume you can park in the driveway? That kind of thing.
Good point.
It goes a long way, to a point where I put cones.
Yeah.
You don't come in my driveway.
Yeah.
But I'm that person.
No, I
mean,
get
you work so hard to have nice things. Why don't you deserve to keep the nice things? But you need some, something. So we're talking today about customer service and thinking 2 steps ahead. Whether it's real estate, you're killing bugs, giving money.
It's all about serving people,
serving,
helping
and
that
thinking
experience.
2 steps ahead. I love that.
Helping that experience be a positive one. Mosquito Joe, you guys are the best. Okay, every realtor should ascribe.
I'm hiring you. Don't park my driveway.
Please do.
Don't spray my windows. But you're good. You're in. You're totally in.
You guys are
and
the
don't
best.
kill my grass.
Absolutely.
Make sure it stays green. You're totally in.
We're not going to kill your grass, just your bugs.
I love it.
I think real quickly, I think for us, exceptional first impressions are so important, and then it's moving past that. First impression, we get one chance to show what we can
love
do.
it.
Right.
But then anytime we have a chance to continue that impression, when you have an issue, we want to own it. If we make a mistake, we're going to own that. Like, we're very, very conscientious about owning mistakes, moving on,
we're all
getting
human.
better as a team.
You got to own it, right? You're so right, and make a solution so it doesn't happen again.
Yes.
I would much rather hire you back just because of taking that ownership, and we all can learn through that through
JB,
real estate.
how do our
How do I
viewers,
hire you? How do I
how
call
do
you?
viewers find you?
Yeah, definitely. You can find us online. Southwest Nashville Mosquito Joe. You can just Google it. You can go to our website. We have a Facebook. Find us 615-679-2001. 615-679-2001.
2001. All right.
Yep.
679.
Correct.
Got it. All right. We're in. Hey, let's kill some bugs and create some relationships and really make a difference out there with customer service. So,
Awesome.
JB, thank you so much for being
Jamie.
here with us.
We
Thank you
appreciate
for joining us today. Excited to have you come back next week. You've been listening to The Talk of Music City Real Estate. Was that a bug? Was that what you're trying to make? Kill the bugs. No more of that. 86 that. We'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.
Thank y'all for having me.